Hello to all CineMaster lovers. Hope you enjoy watching. Let's get started. The summary of the series High Five begins with an ambulance speeding to save the life of a young man who tried to fly, but unfortunately, when he arrives at the hospital, he is already dead. The doctors are puzzled as to why a young man like him would do this to himself, and they notice that all his organs are healthy and his body is strong. They also find out that he is alone and has no family to ask about him, so they decide they must make use of him and donate his organs to other people who need them to live. Indeed, they do this and take 6 organs, as this is the maximum a body can donate to anyone in the world. They finish the operation exhausted and amazed by his body, which was so tough that their knives broke during the procedure. Suddenly, the nurse comes out of the operating room screaming. They rush in to see what's happening and find the whole place in chaos. The man's body is evaporating under the sheet, and a tattoo on his hand starts to disappear. They're shocked by what they see and think he's a ghost, so they run away without getting close to him. A week passes since that day, and we see a beautiful girl named Mansu in the hospital with her father. We learn that she received the heart of that extraordinary young man. The doctor is surprised that she is well and feels no pain, because usually after a heart transplant, the body starts to reject it, causing some pain and fatigue. He asks if she feels tired or faints, but Mansu tells him she feels fine and is even better than before, literally. So the doctor decides to discharge her since everything is fine. Our heroine is happy and leaves with her father to have lunch at a restaurant, but he is surprised that she eats more than before. He also notices a strange tattoo on her hand and asks about it, but she says it appeared after the surgery and might be a side effect. She thinks the doctors did it, so she doesn't pay any attention to it. She decides to return to boxing training, since her dream is to become an Olympic champion, but her father refuses and warns her not to, because her mother and grandmother died from heart disease. He is afraid for her and doesn't want the same to happen to her as well. So Mansu listens to him, to avoid upsetting him, and goes with him to his club, where he trains children in boxing. She watches him, feeling frustrated because she loves boxing but can't practice it. He gives her money for a taxi and asks her to go home alone, since he has work. He leaves to change his clothes, and Mansu, feeling bored, sees a child training alone and takes advantage of her father's absence to train him. She tells him to watch and she jumps in the air and kicks the punching bag with her leg. The bag flies off its hook and explodes from the force of her kick. Her father rushes in at the noise and Mansu is shocked by what happened. She blames the child. She leaves before he realizes she's lying. She doesn't understand what happened and thinks the bag was faulty or something. Later, she sees some girls going home together from school, looks at them sadly because she is lonely and has no friends, and decides to go for a run to improve her mood. She is surprised to find herself running so fast that she overtakes a motorcycle, taking the long road in less than a second. Not only that, but she also jumps so high that she feels like Supergirl. She is amazed and can't believe what's happening, running through the city streets, happy and laughing. Suddenly, she sees a big car in front of her and tries to stop herself but can't stop crashing into it. Of course, nothing happens to her, and the car almost flips over, but she uses her strength to set it back in place. The driver notices something strange happened, but when he looks around he sees nothing. At the same time, we see an old man who was in a coma for a year but wakes up after surgery. His daughter is surprised because his condition was critical, and she had hoped he would die so she could inherit his wealth. But he shocks her by saying he heard everything she said while he was in a coma, and eats like a young man in his 20s. His daughter, feeling frustrated, goes to the hospital to meet the doctor, who performed the surgery to understand, and he tells her he transplanted the pancreas of the extraordinary young man into her father, so it's normal for his condition to improve. No one knows that the donor was a superhuman. The next day, Mansu drives her father to work, but before he leaves he asks her not to run again for her health. She leaves him and goes for a run outside. She stands on a long street to test her strength, but there is a mysterious person filming her with his phone. She senses him, so he hides. But when he looks again he finds her standing in front of him. She thinks he is a pervert stalking her and grabs his hand as if to break it, but then she sees the same tattoo on his hand and realizes he is like her. She talks to him and asks him not to tell her father and asks about his superpower. He tells her he received the lungs of the extraordinary young man, and since then can control the wind. He demonstrates by taking a deep breath and blowing down the street, creating a strong gust that almost blows everything away. Mansu is amazed by his power and believes him. The mysterious young man tells her that there are 4 more people with superpowers, like them, because the human body can donate 6 organs, and they are only 2, so 4 are left. He asks her to help him find them so they can all form a team. Meanwhile, we see a handsome young man walking confidently. We learn he received the eyes of the extraordinary young man, and since then he can control energy, hack devices, and access any information he wants, better than any hacker, all with just a snap of his finger. He decides to use his power to get rich, goes to gambling shops, wins every game, and ends up with a lot of money, shopping for all the clothes he wants. Later, Mansu and the mysterious young man decide to participate in the Olympics, hoping to meet one of the other superhumans there, since these games are for people who received organ transplants. Mansu easily wins the running race and takes first place, impressing everyone with her speed. She sits with the mysterious young man to observe the other contestants. Suddenly, a kind woman approaches and talks to them, handing out free juices, because she had a kidney transplant. The mysterious young man suspects she might be superhuman like them, looks at her hands but finds no tattoo and decides to leave. Suddenly, the kind woman bends over, and they see a tattoo on her back. They are surprised and realize she is superhuman like them. They sit and talk to her, but she knows nothing about the matter. The mysterious young man tries to explain and demonstrates his power, blowing and causing the glass and table to fly. The kind woman is amazed by what she sees, and Mansu asks her if she noticed any changes after she came out of the operation, with the kind woman thinking and telling her that after the operation, her skin became better and everyone admired her beauty. Mansu feels frustrated and realizes that she definitely has a superpower, but hasn't discovered what it is yet. Suddenly, while they are sitting, the handsome young man enters. With a wave of his hand, he turns off the lights and turns on the music, using his power. He surprises them all and starts telling them information that no one else knows about them, to impress them. He then sits with them and introduces himself. The kind woman keeps clapping for him and asks him to be their leader, but the mysterious young man feels jealous and refuses. He asks why he should be the leader when he's even younger than him, and acts like he's important and needs to leave for work. But Mansu tells him, what work? He proudly reveals that he is a writer and writes novels and stories about superheroes, but they keep mocking him because he's not famous. The mysterious young man feels embarrassed by their words, uses his power to blow and make the dishes fly, and leaves them, thinking they'll beg him to come back, but no one pays attention to him. Then we see the old man leaving, and we learn that he decided to form a group because he thinks he's special and that God chose him, and that he will change the world and become a superhero. But the businessman bullies the old man and mocks him, thinking he's crazy. He goes and sits in his chair, which angers the old man, so he insults him and tells him he's useless. The businessman tries to hit him and fights him, thinking he's weak and can defeat him, but the old man grabs him by the neck and marks him. Suddenly, the businessman feels tired, as if his life is being drained from his hands, while the old man begins to get younger and feels he's regaining his youth. He discovers that his superpower is to absorb people's souls and take their life energy. To make sure, he puts his hand on a tree, and indeed he takes its life energy and it dies. He's happy and knows that now he's stronger. His daughter is shocked by what she saw, goes to meet the doctor, and asks him to tell her everything about the super young man who donated his organs, and that he donated 6 organs, and they were transplanted into 6 people, including her father. The girl realizes that they all must have superpowers like her father. She asks her assistant to look for them, so she can take their organs and use the superpowers to achieve her goals. At that time, we see the workers in her factory, but suddenly one of them is seriously injured. His colleague runs to call an ambulance, but their manager appears, who has the same tattoo. He puts his hand on the injured worker, and suddenly his injury heals and he's back to normal. We learn that he received the super young man's liver and his power is healing, but he gets tired, and to return to normal, he needs to drink water. He goes to drink, and we learn that every time he heals someone, he needs to drink, or he'll die. The next day, we see Mansu and the mysterious one playing with their superpowers, but suddenly she sneezes and flies away. They get scared, thinking she's dead, but she's not affected, and comes back to him, telling him not to use that heavy button with her. They talk and he asks about her life, but she tells him that after what happened, she couldn't finish her education, and since then she has had no friends, and always feels lonely. That's why she wants to gather a team of superheroes like her. The mysterious one is affected by her words, but tells her that not all of them are good, and that one of them, after gaining superpowers, might turn out to be evil, and warns her that maybe the handsome young man is the villain, and asks her not to trust him. She reassures him that she will protect them with her power, so she shakes his hand, but her strength almost breaks his hand. Suddenly, the kind woman arrives, and tells them, Why am I the only one with a tattoo on my back, and I don't have a power like you? Mansu reassures her that she'll definitely discover her power with time. Suddenly, she gets a message on her phone from the handsome young man, telling her he's in danger and asking her to save him. We learn that a gang leader kidnapped him because he kept coming to his shop, and every time he did, the money would disappear, and he kept making a profit. The handsome one is scared because he doesn't know how to fight. He uses his powers to send his address to Mansu's phone. Suddenly, the mysterious one enters, and the handsome one is happy, thinking he'll save him, but the mysterious one needs the bathroom urgently and runs off. After that, Mansu arrives and asks the gang to release the handsome young man, and warns them that she's a martial arts expert, but the leader refuses and mocks her. The mysterious one comes out of the bathroom, wants to leave, but Mansu stops him and takes a straw from the kind woman and puts it in his nose so he can use his power and sneeze. The mysterious one sneezes and blows the gang away. Mansu takes advantage of the opportunity, grabs them, and they leave the place, trying to escape, but the gang starts chasing them. Mansu is forced to use her power, puts them in a car, pushes them, and drives at top speed, racing through the city street. They're scared, and the handsome one is forced to use his power to control the traffic lights and clear the road of cars. Mansu keeps hitting speed bumps and flies them into the air. Suddenly, she gets a call from her father, gets nervous, and turns off the phone, but the car slips from her hands, enters another street, and the team gets scared, calling her name. She's forced to use all her power, jumps high over buildings, runs through the tunnel at top speed, and manages to get them there before they crash into the wall. She does a crazy drift and saves them, but the gang sees them and chases after them. Now it's the mysterious one's turn. He grabs the juice bottle and uses it like bombs, blowing at them until he breaks their car and blocks their view. They take another route and manage to escape, but the road is blocked ahead of them, and of course Mansu can't hit the brakes, so they crash into a restaurant. They sit and rest for a while. When they leave, the mysterious one is annoyed with the handsome one because he uses his superpower wrong and steals money, but the handsome one discovers his secret and tells him, "You also steal novels and publish them in your name," and mocks him for being a failure, saying that if he were he would have ended himself. Suddenly, the kind woman gets angry when he mentions suicide, and the mysterious one gets angry too. He slaps him, and because of that, the handsome guy gets annoyed and uses his powers to control electricity. They almost get into a fight, but Mansu stops them and tries to calm them down because, after all, they are one team. But the sheath breaks her heart and says, "You're not my friend just because you sympathized with me. After a couple of days, you thought you were one of..." He pushes her and tries to hit the handsome guy, and she uses her power to blow a car at him, but it hits the kind one, who falls to the ground and breaks down. She tells them they're all silly and decides to leave them and walk away. Unfortunately, the team splits up, each going their own way. Mansu is upset and stands alone crying. She goes home feeling frustrated because she's always wanted to have friends. She finds her father waiting for her, yelling at her because he was worried. He says he looked for her in all the hospitals and asks what she was doing with her friends until now. She breaks down crying and tells him she has no friends, blaming him for always keeping her locked at home and not letting her go out like other girls her age. He always puts her bracelet on her wrist to measure her heartbeat and keeps her tied up like a dog at home. She leaves him and walks away crying, and her words affect her father, who feels guilty for being overprotective. He goes after her the next day. We see the old man's daughter watching a video of Mansu and her friends escaping from the gang, and she discovers they have superpower. She decides to kidnap them and asks the doctor to get ready to experiment on them and try to steal their powers. After that, Mansu meets the mysterious guy and asks him to return to the team so they can look for the villain and stop him, but he refuses. He says he decided to travel and never use his powers again so no one would discover him. He apologizes for what he said yesterday when he was angry and says he doesn't steal stories. He used to write them with his friend, but his friend betrayed him and stole them. He says goodbye and leaves. After that, Mansu gathers with the rest of the team and tells them, unfortunately, the mysterious guy decided to leave the team. At the same time, a big explosion happens at the factory, and all the workers run except for one who gets trapped inside. The healer tries every way to reach him and save him, but can't. The explosion spreads everywhere, and Mansu and the rest of the team see it and quickly decide to go save whoever is there. She tries to send a message to the mysterious guy to come with them, but he doesn't reply, so they decide to go alone. Suddenly, another big explosion happens, but luckily our heroes arrive just in time. Mansu manages to break the door to the room with one hit, until she reaches the iron door and gets ready to break it too. But the handsome guy arrives and takes over. He starts using his fingers to hack the system, and opens the door for her. The healer is amazed by them, and realizes they have superpowers just like him. But the place fills with smoke, and no one can see anything. Suddenly, their mysterious friend arrives and decides to return. The team is happy to see him. He enters the room confidently, but he comes out quickly, saying he couldn't see anything, because it was dark. The handsome guy tells him, "Follow my instructions, and I'll guide you." But the mysterious guy leaves the worker, and the smoke scares everyone so much, that they follow her order. Mansu decides to cooperate with him, and she and the mysterious guy go in while the handsome guy guides them, until they reach the worker and get him out just in time before he suffocates and dies. But he's unconscious, and his life is in danger. Here comes the healer's role. He decides to use his power, holds the worker's hand, and succeeds in healing him. Everyone is surprised to discover he's one of them too. But after that, he feels tired and falls to the ground. The handsome guy quickly goes to get him water, but he's late, and the kind woman gets worried. She holds the healer's hand, crying, and asks the mysterious guy to help him. Suddenly, her tattoo glows, and she transfers energy from the mysterious guy to the healer, who wakes up and returns to normal. Everyone is surprised by what happened, and realizes this is her superpower. She's the link between them all. She's happy she finally discovered her power. They carry the worker out, before another explosion happens. But they realize the handsome guy hasn't come out yet. We see him trying to get out, but when he sees the electricity, he remembers his childhood. We learn that as a child he was electrocuted, which damaged his eye. When he grew up he had surgery and gained his superpower, but now he's scared and loses control, crying. The heroes worry about him, and decide to save him, but the mysterious guy risks his life, goes in, uses his power, to blow the smoke out, grabs the handsome guy, and gets him out before he suffocates. The heroes succeed in escaping before another explosion. After that, they sit in a restaurant, and the healer treats them to thank them for what they did. He introduces himself and tells them he had surgery like them, and since then he has had the power of healing. He says from now on, if any of them gets hurt, they shouldn't go to the hospital. He'll heal them for free. The kind woman is amazed by his words, and applauds him. Happy that she finally discovered her superpower, she suggests they each choose a name that represents their power, like heroes in fantasy stories. For example, the handsome guy could be called Bluetooth, because he hacks devices. Mansu could be Rocket, because she's fast. And the kind woman could be Battery, because she charges their energy. They joke about her idea, and each one tries out their power, laughing and having fun, getting closer like a family. Mansu goes home happy because she finally has friends. She finds her father fixing the car, but he can't remove the tire. She decides to use her power to help him without him noticing, and he thinks he did it himself. He tells her, "Don't worry, I'm still as strong as ever. I'll protect you anytime. If you ever feel you're in danger, just call me, and I'll be there in a second to save you." The next day, the old superpowered man goes to his factory to meet the workers, whose lives were in danger. He greets the healer and thanks him for saving them, but he notices the tattoo on his hand and realizes he's superpowered like him. He asks for his name and some information, then leaves, smiling, looking like he's planning something dangerous. Indeed, his daughter arrests him and takes him to the hospital to the doctor, tying him up to experiment on him without even giving him anesthesia, and she seems crazy. Suddenly, the old man enters and stops her. He approaches the healer, puts his hand on his neck to absorb his energy, but nothing happens. The old man is surprised, and realizes this doesn't work on people of his own kind. So he goes and puts his hand on a nurse and actually absorbs all her energy, killing her. They confirm his power works. He asks the doctor to transplant part of the healer's liver, certain that he will gain his power, and everyone gets scared. The doctor is forced to listen to her, and perform the operation, but his daughter gets upset because her plan is ruined. She orders her assistant to capture the rest of the superheroes today, so she can experiment on them at her leisure, and indeed, he carries out her order. He goes with the gang, and they capture the mysterious one, put a handkerchief over his face and knock him out. Then it's our heroine Minsu's turn. She gets ready to kill them, but her father sees her and runs to her, saying, "Are they trying to bully you?" He gets upset and tells her, "Don't worry, I'll protect you." He puts on his boxing gloves, stands in front of her, and warns them that they will regret it, and he'll break their bones and faces. He tries to hit them, but his shoe flies off. He stumbles and almost falls. The gang mocks him, but Min-soo takes advantage of the opportunity, uses her powers, defeats 2 of them in less than a second, all without her father noticing. She quickly returns to her place. Her father is surprised at what happened and thinks he is Superman, and that he did. Min-soo encourages him to continue, and indeed he attacks them, but she stands behind him, beating up the gang while he thinks he's the one doing it. She takes them out one by one, then quickly returns to her place and tells him, "Dad, keep going." She grabs a stick to threaten them, and they are scared of her strength. Her father is surprised by their reaction, and when he looks behind him, he finds his daughter just standing there acting cute. Then the gang attacks him all at once. Her father tries to stop them, but Min-soo stands behind him, pushes them, and keeps beating them up, sending them flying through the air, all while her father thinks he's the one doing it. Min-soo lifts him and spins him in the air, defeats them all, knocks them to the ground, and no one can handle her. She uses her speed and quickly returns to her place. Her father is proud of himself, and says to her, "Did you see how your dad fought?" At that time, we see her superhero friends kidnapped and imprisoned in a secret underground location. It turns out the psycho is behind it. She goes to fight with the doctor to force him to experiment on them, and tells him that her father won't help because he's old and about to die. He mocks her, saying, "You're the old one." He asks her to go in and see him. Indeed, his daughter goes in to check on him, but is shocked to find that he has become young, handsome, and strong. She is frightened and can't believe her eyes. The villain tests his new power, goes to the mirror and breaks it with his hand, but the wound heals instantly. He is happy and realizes this is the healer's power. He decides to steal the rest of the superhero's organs to become the strongest person in the world. But then his daughter decides to get rid of him. She sends her assistant and his men to kidnap him and experiment on him. The villain is happy because this is a good opportunity to test his strength. He grabs one of them and throws him far away with a single punch, scaring the rest, and they try to escape, but he doesn't let them. He lifts them and slams them to the ground. Meanwhile, the handsome one is imprisoned and tries to use his powers, but they have tied his finger. He gets an idea, takes off his shoe to use his toes, and succeeds in opening the door. He is happy, but the nurses catch him. They ask, "Who opened the door?" But now they're going to deal with him. Before he leaves, he opens the door for his other superhero friends and sends a message to Min-soo to come and save them. Our heroine is surprised that they are in danger, and decides to go save them. At that time, her father sees her and hugs her, because he thinks she is weak and being bullied, and cries because she is boxing to defend herself. He reassures her that he will protect her and won't let anyone come near her, and asks her to tell him who the bullies are. Min-soo realizes he is out of the loop and decides to trick him, telling him the bullies kidnapped her friends. He gets angry and wants to help her. He takes her and puts her in the car to go save them together. Meanwhile, the doctor takes the handsome one to the operating room to transplant his cornea to the villain. The handsome one keeps screaming and crying, begging them, but no one cares. The doctor successfully transplants one cornea, but unfortunately, during the operation, he only manages to transfer one, and the other is still with the handsome one. The villain is happy and starts using it, discovering that he can now control energy and device. The handsome one wakes up with bandages over his eyes, in pain, but hears the healer's voice next to him, who tells him what happened and that he has become old and weak after the villain took everything from him. The healer holds his hand and decides to use his last bit of strength, because he is now young. He remembers the boy and decides to prove his superpower to them. He starts flying, jumping high, smashing the wall, thinking he will impress them, but they are scared of him. He decides to use the other part, and the villain decides to use his method. He goes to a paralyzed man and uses his power on him, healing him so he can stand on his feet again. Then he goes to another woman, whose daughter is sick, and absorbs her illness, curing. Someone comes to him and says, "I'm burned, show me how you can heal me." He goes to him and absorbs the burns from his body, but when he drinks water, he returns to his normal state. Everyone cheers his name, truly convinced by him. At that moment, Min-soo and her father arrive at the place. The villain senses their presence, welcomes them, and pretends to be a fan of her father and that he just wanted to greet him, but in reality, he wants to absorb his life energy. But Min-soo sees the tattoo on his hand and realizes he is the villain. She gives him a powerful punch that breaks his hand, but he goes and drinks regular water, uses the healer's power, and his hand returns to normal. He gets angry, looks at Min-soo, and says he will make her regret it, demanding she give him her heart.
or else he will finish.
Our heroes are shocked, realizing that means he has now managed to take powers from two of their friends, the healer and the energy absorber. The handsome one, Minsu's father, gets angry thinking he is just a normal young man and attacks him, but the villain throws him far away. Minsu quickly intervenes and takes the hit instead, but she passes out. Suddenly, the villain appears behind her, throws her, and Minsu realizes that he is fast and strong like her. She decides to kill him with all her strength, and the two begin fight with each other. They have unnatural strength to the point that their friends almost flew away. Minsu tries to kick him, but the villain blocks her attack, pins her against the wall, and breaks the wall with her. But Minsu doesn't give up. She pushes him away and hits him with a flying kick in the air, trapping him. The fight is fierce, affecting his whole body, but she is surprised when he uses the healer's power and regains his strength as before. He grabs her leg and throws her far away. Then he jumps in the air and kicks her, slamming her into the ground. He approaches to finish her off, but the mysterious one grabs the kind one's hand to increase his power, blows at the villain, and sends him flying away, all to buy time. The kind one takes the opportunity, grabs Minso's hand, and tries to transfer energy to her to increase her strength, and indeed she recovers. But the villain uses the handsome one's power, turns off the lights, and suddenly disappears. He appears behind them in a second, hits Minso, sends her flying, defeats the mysterious one with a finger, and knocks him to the ground. He doesn't want to hurt them, just to absorb their energy. He approaches the kind woman, who is scared and thinks he will finish her, but realizes she is the link who can transfer their powers without surgery or transfer his power to them. So they fear him and he backs off from her. He decides from now on to use her and asks her to help him and obey his commands, or he will finish off her friends in front of her eyes. Suddenly, the handsome one arrives with the healer, uses the injured one's eye, and distracts the villain's attention. Minso takes the opportunity, comes from behind, and hits him with a strong flying punch, knocking him far onto his chair. The heroes decide to cooperate. The kind one grabs their hands and transfers energy to the healer to help them. Indeed, the healer heals the mysterious one, who stands in front of the villain, ready to kill him. Using his training with Minso, he blows her towards the villain. She hits him with her head, breaking the wall. Her friends start helping her, holding the kind one's hand, each using their power, breaking the ceiling and making it fall on the villain's head. They rejoice, thinking they have finally defeated him, but the place can't handle it, and starts to collapse from all sides. Suddenly, the villain emerges from the rocks, puts his hand on the water tank, drinks all the water, succeeds in healing his wounds, and comes back stronger than before. The bastard approaches them, angry, his eyes full of rage. He grabs the mysterious one by the neck, hits him hard on the ground. Minso tries to attack him from behind, but he senses her and chokes her, unfortunately giving her a strong blow to the stomach, so hard that she bleeds from her mouth and collapses on the ground. Her tattoo is about to disappear, meaning she is dying. The kind woman collapses, thinking she's dead, tries to save her life, but the villain approaches, threatens her to transfer her power to him, or else he will finish them all. Unfortunately, she is forced to obey him, holds his hand, feeling hopeless, but she has another plan. She transfers his energy and heals Minso with it. Indeed, Minso recovers from her injuries and wakes up, clearly stronger than before. She decides to make him regret it, attacks him and gives him a powerful punch, her attacks now affecting him, sending him flying into the air. She uses her superpower, keeps hitting him repeatedly so he can't heal himself, throws him into the electricity to weaken him. The villain tries to attack her, but she uses her speed to dodge his blows. She gives him a strong flying punch, but he doesn't give up, grabs 2 iron bars, tries to hit her with them, but she takes them from him as if they're 2 paper sticks. Uses her boxing skills combined with her superpower, delivers fast punches with her hands, and strong kicks with her legs, breaking his facial bones and crippling him, turning him into shawarma. Her friends are happy she defeated him, but suddenly the place shakes. They realize the electricity is unstable and about to explode. The handsome one decides to gather his courage, overcomes his fear, grabs the kind girl's and the healer's hands to fix his eyes, and the injured one starts absorbing their energy. Then he overcomes his phobia, uses his power, stands in the middle of the electricity, and absorbs all the energy, causing the power to go out in the whole country. But then he uses it again, now having renewable power. For the first time, the mysterious one acknowledges him, shakes his hand, thanks him. They make up and forget their differences. The heroes are happy they succeeded, form a circle, hold hands to heal their injuries. But suddenly the villain wakes up, grabs their hands, and tries to use his power to absorb their life energy. He almost succeeds, but Menso says, "Dad, help." Immediately he shows up, throws him far away, but he wakes up at the right moment, hugs his daughter, apologizes for not being able to protect her. Our heroine takes the opportunity, grabs her team's hands, and everyone regains their power and is healed. Her father decides to go fight the villain, but is surprised that his appearance has changed and he's back to being old as before. It turns out unfortunately that she took all his power. The healer feels sorry for him, and approaches to save his life, but is surprised that the villain isn't remorseful and wants to absorb his life energy. The healer gets angry, and decides to let him die as punishment. The handsome one uses his power, with a wave of his hand, makes the old man sit on the chair, goes up to his followers, and everyone is shocked to see him weak and pitiful. They realize he was a fraud and had been tricking them, so everyone leaves him and walks away. After that, our heroes leave the place, and go to rest, after finally winning the battle and defeating the villain. Before celebrating, the kind woman asks them to choose a name. They keep thinking together until Menso suggests they call themselves High Five, or the fifth superhero. Everyone likes the name and agrees to call themselves High Five. The first thing they do is go to the hospital and heal the rescue worker, who was in a coma. His wife is surprised when she finds him awake, is happy and hugs him. We learn that the healer did this with his power, and the kind woman thanks him. The heroes decide to stay friends forever, fight evil, and spread peace in the world. The series ends with a happy ending. If you liked today's video, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to receive